Hey everyone, Raw here. We're back with Week 3 and Week 4 recap for REBBL REL Season 11 Division 5G. I just want to give a shout out to my man Style, who just had surgery, and that's why we couldn't record last week. So give him some well wishes, and hopefully we'll be back on track here and on schedule. So we're just going to do Week 3 and Week 4 recap this week, and obviously I'll be able to preview Week 5 because it's Tuesday and no one was able to play their games yet. So we're gonna jump right in. I think actually we're gonna start with the leaderboard. Let's see how everyone's pulling out. So at the beginning of the season, I had picked Ornan to lead the division, and it looks like so far that's playing out. Again, Amazon's a strong team in a fresh division because there's not really tackle to be had, and there's no dwarves in this division, so really no hard counter. So obviously, Ornan's at the top there. Currently undefeated, 3 wins, 1 draw. On the Necro team, Paranoid Puppies pulling up in second place here with 3 wins and 1 loss, so still in the running, obviously. And then you got a 3-way tie here for third place with the Kemry, Lizardman, and Kislev team. And then it's pretty much still anyone's game, in my opinion. With only 3 wins leading the pack, like you just pull a couple wins together, top guys get a couple losses, all of a sudden it's all even again. I mean that's at least that's what happened in my first season. All right, let's head into the schedule here. So we're reviewing Week 3, which is going back about 2 weeks ago now. Although everyone played their games on what looks to be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So, we got another Bloody Bell versus the Ball and Dinos. So this is the Skaven team versus the Lizardman team. And it was a 1-0 victory for the Lizards. This is a tough matchup, in my opinion, for Skaven. Only because the strength 4 is tough to deal with, especially if you don't have Claw Piece or anything yet. 1-0 victory. Armor breaks pretty even. Unfortunately, Skink ate the MVP, but we got a level up on a Gutter Runner, so that's amazing. Let's just take a quick peek. 30 blocks to 45 blocks. So 45 blocks actually probably should have caused a couple more removals here. Still 3 is a lot, but all right, 1-0 victory for Ball and Dinos. All right, Warpstone in Rock and Roll versus Danny's DeVitos. This is Underworld versus the Goblin Squad. A couple stunties. Man, this troll just keeps on leveling up. We're gonna have to put him on the superstar review. Then Her Cobain getting the MVP here and getting a level. We talked about this last time, I believe, but 15 armor breaks is pretty amazing. 1-0 victory here. Let's just check. Nobody died. 6 injuries inflicted. That's great. Good SPP in this game. This is a good victory for the Underworld squad. All right, Peak Altitude. 1-0 victory. Pulling it out against the Orc squad. Peak Altitude was a little beat up. And it looks like they had pretty good dodge dice in this one. Excellent SPP. Unfortunately, only an MVP on this side. So let's check the dice rolls here. What happened? All right. So I mean, failed 6 dodges. All your pickups, all your catches, go for it's were terrible. I didn't throw that many blocks, right? Well, not gonna investigate too deep here, but yeah, I mean that's a good win for the Elves, right? Because this team was struggling, it was really beat up, lost the positional if I remember, and that's a good win against a squad with strength 4 and armor 9. So it's a tough, hard fought win. All right, Necro team versus New Gender Norse. So this is Necromantic versus Amazons. That New Gender Norse is going to get me every time until the end of the season. That's awesome. We got an MVP on the Flesh Golem, which is amazing. MVP on a catcher here. 14 armor breaks. So that's good. You got some knockdowns. Could have been some fouling action, but again, that's what you got to do. If you put them on the pitch, you got to step on them, boots to the face. 8 armor breaks on this side. That's actually probably pretty high, but again, when you have block, 50 blocks succeeded. Wow. So maybe not that many armor breaks considering the amount of blocks thrown. 2 KOs and 3 injuries on this side. So this is actually a pretty good win for the Amazon squad considering the block dice here and the amount of removals. Good SPP spread on both sides. This looks like it would have been a fun one to watch. That's a good win for an Amazon squad. Top position for a reason, I guess. Alright, then we have Kislev versus the Khemri squad with my favorite player on it. So this one looks like it was pretty evenly matched. 5 armor breaks, 8 armor breaks, 1-0 victory for the Kislev team. 57 blocks, man. You're just punching dudes and nothing's happening. Well, 2 injuries is pretty solid and 1 removal, 1 on KO, and smashing 2 cam, putting in work. I think we reviewed this game the last time, but let's see. Major regen, ball pickup's kind of crappy, so Kislev can really put the pressure on if the ball's on the pitch, right? Because leap and extra movement and stuff. Go for it's were good. All your KOs came back, so hard fought victory for the Kislev looks like. All right, let's move on to week 4, so we can squeeze in a preview, maybe some predictions. But another Bloody Bell versus Danny's DeVito, so this should have been like a pretty good rest week for the Skaven squad against the Goblin team, but who knows how it ended up. 15 armor breaks with 2 expulsions. Oh man, Frank the Looney getting the MVP. So I'm curious to see what your level up was on this gentleman here. Looks like this gutter runner did all the work. Went from no levels to almost level 2 here. Only 3 armor breaks, 2 deaths though. That's really crappy. That's really unfortunate. Hopefully it was just loners. Crappy lineman. 31 blocks, 3 KOs, 3 injuries, and a kill inflicted here. So I guess it was probably a foul kill, maybe on one of those expulsions. Only 26 blocks and no damage to goblins. That's surprising. Maybe you had players missing. Getting beat up in previous matches, but I feel like a tie is a solid situation for a Skaven team that suffers 2 deaths. But all right, moving on here. 1-0 victory for the Lizardman squad over the Orcs. Let's take a peek at this game. So pretty even on the armor breaks. I would imagine that the blocks are going to be about even as well. Saurus getting an MVP in a level is amazing. Loner lineman eating the MVP is kind of crappy. Yeah, only 7 more blocks for the Lizardman squad with 1 additional removal. I wonder if any fouling happened here, but I mean ball possession, 25% each, so standing center pitch and just punching each other. That's my guess. I would imagine that's how this game played out. Again, only getting 1 MVP. Gorks of the Jungle, unfortunately, only star player points. Eventually, you'll get some armor breaks and it'll start cascading. But that's a good victory for the Lizardman team. All right, now we have Underworld versus Amazons. This matchup again favors Amazon. All right, so looking at this game, Underworld versus Amazons were even armor breaks. It's not showing me the MVPs. We just lost connection here briefly, but oh man, 60 blocks. That is wild. I guess you just base, right? And just put guys on bodies and try to punch people, because 60 blocks is quite a lot for a strength 3 team. Ooh, 5 KO, 3 casualties. No deaths in this game, so that's good. That's a good thing. Yeah, and the SPP is not showing for us, but hopefully we can. Maybe if we go back and come back in here. There we go. Goblin, Lawn Woman, 12 armor breaks, 13 armor breaks. Pretty decent SPP spread. I imagine we'll see some levels when we view these teams. Alright, moving on. Good victory for the Amazon squad. Alright, peak altitude versus Toucan play at that. So we got Elves versus Khemri, 1-1 tie, which I think is a really outstanding situation for the Elf squad. Kind of crappy that the loner with the strength bust gets the MVP. Can't even hire him. 25 blocks, 36 blocks. Looks like you're able to disconnect pretty successfully. Man, he must have held the ball for the majority of the first half, 50% ball possession. Looks like you had a couple of casualties on him. I've always found that Elf versus Khemri is tough because of the Tomb Guardians, but if you can outmaneuver them and move around them, you'll end up out on top. It's good SPP spread those games, and you're just gonna keep cascading here, hopefully, and just keep piling on those SPPs. Again, Smashing Toucan putting in work. Love seeing his name up there. All right, Necro versus Kislev. So Necro getting the victory here. Ooh, man, 18 armor breaks. Dead MVP. A lot of crappy MVPs in these 2 weeks. A couple loners, a strength busted dude. I always find that amusing when the MVP lands on a guy that died. Like I guess to make the ultimate sacrifice, your team thinks you're the MVP for that match, but 3 expulsions, pretty wild. So we're seeing the Necro team definitely likes to foul, but hey, when you get those removals from it, man, just getting punched, that's a ton of KOs. Only 14 blocks, so Kislev probably just trying to disconnect and get away from all these hits. Let's check that. So not a decent SPP though. A couple Kaz, pass, MVP, looking pretty solid. So 1-0 loss isn't that bad if you get that SPP. Unfortunately, the MVP landed on a dead dude, but it is what it is. Push forward, right? All right, let's take a peek at the teams real quick. See what kind of development we've had since the last video. A couple weeks worth of star player points. So we already know the Looney got a level. My agility goblin went up. That's amazing. We got. All right, so the Looney rolled normals. So you put dodge on him. Yeah, I mean that's solid, right? Just try to move into cages now and zap people with the buzzsaw. Love the agility 4 goblin going up. Hopefully he continues to level, and otherwise looks like this team's pretty stagnant. Hopefully this troll gets another level. I'd love to see this troll get block and just start bashing people. So hopefully Schwackhammer can live up to his name there. Just start hammering people. Alright, Gorks of the Jungle, Octo Joe. So this Orc squad was only a couple MVPs for a couple games, and one of them landed on a loner, but doesn't look like there's any real development here. Black Orc with block, so rolled a normal, took block. Maybe he didn't. I probably would have just went with block as well. I would try to focus up here on getting Cunning Leaper to a touchdown. I mean, and if you're in a position to get a Black Orc touchdown, you got Brutal Jumblebee here. That had a touchdown away, a casualty away. You're still at 11 dudes, which is great. You got your team rerolls and your apothecary. I mean, you just develop in this rookie division, going to the next division with a bunch of levels as we end the season here, and regardless of wins or losses, just come out with a strong team. All right, our division leader Ornan here with his Amazon squad. Still at 13 men, 13 women, I guess. Let's see what this is. This is just a miss next game. Yeah. All right, so 13 players, no significant injuries. Good development. Took guard on 2 blitzers. Got a Mighty Blow Frenzy already. That's probably why there were so many blocks, 60 blocks in that game. I mean, yeah, this is a solid squad, right? You keep your TV down, you get inducements most games as the other bloating teams just start to shoot up, and just relying on block and dodge. But I mean, this is solid, right? And undefeated for a reason. The team looks good. All right, Skaven squad, another bloody bell. So these guys are beat up, but 3 positionals, 3 gutter runner positionals, and looks like 2 brand new storm vermin. I mean, yeah, I'm think this is still okay though, right? 2 draws and 2 losses, so I mean, you get a couple wins, you'd probably still be in contention for the division, but ultimately, you keep getting development, try to get some doubles on these storm vermin, and keep moving forward, right? Got your rerolls, got your apothecary. Just start, get another gutter runner here. Maybe add back a couple linemen. Maybe not. Just let loners take hits. But I mean, you got levels. You got a gutter runner, Benedict Cumberrat, ready to go up again. All right, 2 can play at that Hindi Khemri squad. Decided on taking movement on this Blitzra, so I'd imagine you try to turn him into your default ball carrier. And, Mighty Blow on a Tomb Guardian. We already know Smashing Toucan has had it piling on since week 2. 1 casualty away here going into week 5, so focus on blitzing with him, get another level. Probably end up taking tackle, depending on what he rolls there. I mean, this squad is in a strong position too, right? Because you got string 5 pieces, your TV's still low, you got full bank. I know, unfortunately, a couple MVPs on skeletons, but you get a dirty player early and you just start fouling the crap out of people. Add some dudes to your bench, get that player advantage. So picking up the ball doesn't matter when you're just removing people. I think they'll have a strong finish from the Khemri squad. All right, Kislev Circus. Let's see what Noah N's got going on. Oh, perfect. Alignment with agility up. That's great. That's a good level. Alignment with wrestle. Again, I mean, I mentioned it in the first video. I don't know much about Kislev, but I know that agility ups on agility 3 players are strong, especially when your majority agility 3. Try to get a pass on this blitzer, I would think, in the next match. Get that level. You got a couple guys here. Probably fire this guy coming into week 5. Yeah, I mean, get a pass on this blitzer, get him a skill, and just keep grinding. You're in a strong position in this division. Keep playing for it. 2-1-1, still in range. Full bank on that squad too, which is good news. All right, the Necro team, which had 2 weeks with multiple expulsions. All right, so we got a movement busted white, block dodge werewolf. That's been since the week 2 video. We hired another werewolf, which we're a touchdown away, so focus on carrying him next game. And then a couple casualties on these flesh golems. All of a sudden, this team's shaping up nice. No skeleton on this squad, so following with zombies, I guess. I'm not complaining. I love fouling. You got to stomp on their faces, boot to face. 13 men, full bank. Squad's looking good. I might consider recycling this white just to get the strength 6 player back. I mean, it's 2 touchdowns as opposed to 1 touchdown for a level. I would consider that. I like having guys that are full capability, especially because he doesn't have any valuable levels yet. It's not a guard piece or anything. Just food for thought. All right, moving on to the elf team. This squad was also beat up the last time I looked at it. We got a blodge piece, a sure hands piece, lineman with a double, going for guard. I'm into it. So 8 players, 40K in the bank. You got your rerolls, you got your apothecary. So now you're just gonna focus on rebuilding. You pulled out some decent games the last 2 weeks, despite the squad being beat up. So I think you just keep pushing forward with this team and get some levels. And I personally like that you took sure hands on the thrower. That's kind of how I like to go with the teams with the throwers, and conserve your rerolls for the blocks on your dudes that don't have any blocking skills. Yeah, I mean this team looks good. Just get a Kaz, get a touchdown here, maybe get a level up. I'd consider Mighty Blow there if I roll doubles. Just have a definitive blitzer, and just keep trying to score touchdowns, right? That's what elves do best. All right, the Underworld's team. 14 dudes. This was just a miss next game, if I remember correctly. Yeah. All right, went with the tackle. I think that's the right call in this division. I think I talked about that last time. You got a Skaven thrower a touchdown away. Probably try to feed him the ball, and just protect these Skaven, these strength 3 dudes. Surprisingly, you got a full bank despite having a bunch of stunty players on your team. I mean, I guess they are cheap, and if you roll good for your winnings, it's kind of irrelevant. Yeah, this squad looks good. Double Mighty Blow. Love it. Love seeing it. Cause some damage. Alright, Ball and Dinos. Lizardman team. Alright, so if I remember, there was a Dead Saurus and a movement busted Saurus, which we look like we've replaced already. You got 2 skanks ready to level, so I'd love to see those guys level, and hopefully you can add a stat increase. Definitely looking for agility there. Croxagore leveled up since the last time. Went with guard, which that's how you do them. Just it's outstrength people. You're sitting all right in this division too. 2-1 and 1. Still strong positioning. Unfortunately, your Saurus are a little. 3 of them are struggling to get star player points, but you did have to replace 2. So, I personally, going into week 5, probably add an apothecary here, and go to 0 bank, and solely save it for the Croxagore or the Saurus. But to each their own. Live on the edge, I suppose. All right, last team. Yep. All right. So I think everyone's playing pretty decent. I mean, no one has only losses. There was a couple guys at the bottom of my division last season that didn't win any games, but draws are all right. Still gaining points toward the leaderboard. Still a little early in the season, so you never know what could happen. It's really first season, I think, personally, is really all about getting development on players and focusing on that, not necessarily winning games. But so you got week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8, week 9 left. I'm not sure what Rebel does for the remainder of the out to week 13, but coming into this week, we got Skaven at Kislev, Khemri at Necro, Amazon at Elf, Orc at Underworld, and Goblin at Lizard. So I think the Skaven Kislev game is going to be really interesting. I'm going to pick the Skaven in that game only because they definitely have the movement speed to outmaneuver a Kislev team. I like the Necro team in the Khemri matchup, um, only because I really like the how fast they are, which is why I would recommend getting rid of that white that was movement busted, just so you can outpace the Khemri team. But then again, Khemri's got some decent levels, a couple players with one player with 2 skills, and then a Mighty Blow Tomb Guardian. So all right, Amazon at Elf. So this is going to be a really rough matchup for the Elf team, only because all the dodge inherent, obviously, and no real skills to deal with it. You got a couple block players. I mean, about the same speed as you. That'll be an interesting one to watch as well. Um, all right, Orcs versus Underworld. If the Orcs can focus up on getting some 3 dice blocks there with the Black Orcs on some stunty players, you get some star player points on your Black Orcs. All of a sudden, MVP hits, get another level. Squad's looking strong. Underworld didn't have any claw yet, so this is going to be a difficult match for them. But again, strong positioning with stunty players and hitting hard with Mighty Blow. Uh, this could go either way. I think I like the Orcs in this one, only because of the strength advantage and the lack of claw on the Underworld squad currently. And Goblins at Lizards. This is a tough one for the Goblin team, but you have the tools to get rid of those skanks from the pitch. So you get a chainsaw and a skank, and you knock a couple out with some 3 dice, or some 2 dice, 3 dice blocks, and then all of a sudden, Lizardman team can't handle the ball. And then on the opposite side, the Lizardman team, you control the pitch with your strength 4. There's not really much the Goblin squad can do. Kind of just hoping with the chainsaw. But I think all around, I'm pretty impressed with a lot of the development in this division. My team was not developed as strongly as any of the teams in this division so far when I started. So kudos to everyone, and hopefully we'll be back on track. We'll be able to do another Tuesday recording next week, and we'll just keep moving forward here. Get some development on your players and cause a lot of casualties, and I like to see dead guys. So enjoy Blood Bowl, boys, and we'll see you next week.